Hello. So nice to sit down and chat with you. I'm really lucky to call you a friend, but I know that you have such an amazing story that I think a lot of people don't necessarily know the backstory about, and especially going through your whole experience as a rider, going into the Riders Prod, ETBA, everything in between. I think today is just going to be like a really nice, open, honest chat about everything, and we can just see where it goes.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. I'm very excited to be on the podcast. And, can't wait.
Amazing. All right, like take us back to the beginning. Like for anyone that potentially is listening or watching this that doesn't know Hannah or doesn't know the backstory, how did you get into horses, and how did your journey going into the equine business side of the industry start?
Yeah. All right. So sit down for this one. It is a bit of a long journey. She's nearing 30, so, time flies when you're having fun, I guess. But for me, horses, as a little kid, I was obsessed. My mum had ridden when she was younger, but not a horsey family. But I was lucky enough that she was still in contact with one of her friends from back in the days who had horses, had a property, and that was the end of it. It was, I had scraps.
Sorry, Mum and Dad.
It was like, you're buying a horse whether you like it or not. Like, they had a property up in Gisborne, and every weekend I was like, can we go and see the horses? Like, just go for a drive. Like, and then I was lucky that the friend would, do you want to brush them? Do you want to jump on for a ride? And it sort of grew from there, and over probably a period of, say, 2 years, I then worked hard enough to convince my parents that I was ready to get my own horse, and Shetland through that person that I sort of leased for a period of time. And you work through all the fun things with Shetlands. They like to throw you some curveballs, but it teaches you resilience, and it's a bit of fun. And then I ended up getting my first pony, I think I was like 10.
Oh my gosh.
And the whole journey through Pony Club, I was very shy.
Really?
Yeah, you wouldn't
you wouldn't think it.
Yeah, like to the point where Mum would have to order at the general store for me, or I wouldn't go up in public.
Wow.
School parent-teacher interviews, no way.
Wow.
Not a thing. Like the anxiety that would
just
cause.
Not happening.
Nah. I would literally come up with any excuse to not have to go to them.
Oh my God. Wow.
But I guess that's probably where Pony Club really did make a big impact on my life, is that it taught me to communicate with people. It gave me a responsibility of having a horse.
Putting yourself out there too.
Yeah, exactly. So I really put down to changing my whole scope of my life to Pony Club. I know that sounds like a big deal, it's probably a bit dramatic.
Sounds like true though.
I had a horse, and then, as you do with horses, you grow out of that horse, you get the next horse. I was lucky enough to have really, really good ponies who would give everything a go, from games to cross country, and
fun.
Eventing was probably really where my heart lied for a lot of my childhood, and then dressage once I got a little bit more aware of the falling off part and the consequences of that.
You're like, maybe not.
Yeah. So then I became a bit of a dressage queen, did all the junior squads and all those types of things. I'd only finished riding probably a year ago now, after a little incident. little fall, but that's okay.
But those curveballs.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my horse side of my career, I guess. Yeah.
No, it's so awesome. I feel like everybody has a little bit of a similar story.
It's
always the Mum and Dad, please.
No, I think we're all very lucky, those who have had those supportive parents as riders, to be able to make the most of growing up with horses, because not as many people as you sort of think would get to be able to do that.
No, 100%. And it's funny because I actually really relate. I was a really shy kid as well. Really? And I feel like me and my family, we went around Australia when I was 10. And my mum and dad always say that a combination of that and horses really took me out of my shell and gave me, like you were saying, a sense of responsibility, and not just being a kid. When you have responsibility, you kind of have to step up a little bit, and then you kind of come out of your shell. And especially going through the Pony Club system as well, it's a very supportive environment that you are the big wide world is not so scary.
Or even just as a junior in Pony Club, there's always the senior group, the big kids, the ones that you want to be like. You aspire to these big horses.
Amazing.
They're jumping these big jumps, and they're doing all these things. And at my Pony Club, I was really lucky that there was so many that were big sisters to me.
That's so nice.
That then would give me the confidence to step up. And I guess like horses too, you have to go up to the dressage judge. You have to, you know, go out and do things on your own, even though it really is.
Especially you and your pony going up to the car when
like,
you're about to do your dressage test. Make sure I'm smiling your name, and you're like, yes, that's me. And they always used to tell me to just like breathe, because I used to hold my breath. So they're like, you're okay, just breathe.
You're like, if I act more nervous, I might get more points.
Yeah, exactly.
So it might be nicer to me if I smile at them.
I know. So true though, like, especially as a young kid, you kind of just get like thrown into this like whole you world. And your horse, and it is just you. Like your parents can't help you like at that point, which is so funny. But I think that like, it's amazing. And so tell me then how you kind of went from there and then into the Riders Pod.
Yep.
Like, so for anybody that doesn't know what it is, what is maybe, I guess, just the start of what the Riders Pod was for, and how did you kind of get into that?
Yeah, so like I said, sort of, I wasn't very confident, and then through the Pony Club system, I really did find this sense of purpose and confidence that I'd never had before. And from there, I sort of started to do things like, I'm going to organise a clinic at my pony club, and I'm going to invite all these instructors, and we're going to get sponsors for the raffle, and we're going to do these things. It really sparked a sense of ownership. And, you know, when it was well received by the pony club, I was like, well, this is really fun. I want to do it again. And, you know, I'd do other clinics, or, you know, I even started a small business as a youngster doing plaiting for people, or
so cute.
Doing lessons. You know, you then help the younger generation of pony clubbers yourself. And it really gave me this sense of like, oh, I can do all these different things that involve horses.
You're helping someone too, and it gives you like a really nice feeling.
Yeah, so like Saturdays at the pony club, I was like, it's quite a funny story that my pony club was actually in the heart of the CBD of Melbourne in Williamstown. You wouldn't read about it. It's still there. It's 50, I think it's 51 or 52 years old now.
Wow. Whereabouts in Williamstown?
Literally in a refinery. So the Altona refinery, they were nice enough to lease one of their paddocks to us. So we had 30 odd horses in the middle of Williamstown. We're across the road from the beach. Like you could literally, we had a permit to walk across and go swim in the beach. And
and it's still there?
It's still there. They still have a paddock attached to the pony club. It's on the separate grounds now, because you used to be able to walk from the pony club grounds across to the rally grounds. But an incredible operation. They did a great job. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, so, you know, Saturdays were spent at the paddock from pony club with, you know, earning money doing plaiting or giving lessons or doing that type of thing. And, you know, I was there from the age of 10 till I think I finished at like 24 or something like that. So it was really a really big piece of my life. And I was at uni. I was doing a degree in sports management, business and like exercise science. And through that, I think I was in my third year, and I thought, I don't know actually, to be honest, exactly where the idea came from, but I think it was around the time when apps were really starting to become a thing. So like back when I started the Riders Pod, there was no such thing as a reel. Facebook ads were really only just starting to...
Instagram was still a bit like, oh, what's this?
It was definitely a different logo, do you know what I mean? Like back when they used to change it all the time. So it was very different to what it is now. But I remember sort of thinking, I want to do this. It was a time like Sweat and Keep It Cleaner, those types of brands were really starting to emerge. And, you know, the likes of Laura Henshaw and Steph Claire Smith were inspirations to me. And that's sort of where I built the idea from. I thought, you know, in the equestrian sport, we are athletes as riders. Our horses are athletes. But there was really no management or any tools for them to actually treat themselves that way, and the standard just wasn't there. And it wasn't really seen that way, as that you are an athlete, you're there to perform, but we're all working our asses off to go to competitions and to win and to do these different things and be better and better.
And having a cinnamon donut for breakfast.
Literally Macca's run. It was
whereas our horses' supplements are like this.
Exactly. So yeah, that's sort of where it spread from. I was lucky enough to have a business partner in my cousin who was a personal trainer, and she had a really extensive background in that side of things, more of the human side of it, which was really cool. And we ended up working with a range of professionals, from nutritionists to exercise physiologists, personal trainers, riding coaches, where we built the app. I worked with a company in Canada to do that. And really had no idea what I was doing at the time. Absolutely no idea. I was like, it can't be that hard, surely. Like, you know, a lot of people told me no. I feel like that's a common story that I've told many times, is that the amount of times I had no versus yes, you should definitely do that. Where you can't even count them on one hand. And then, I spent a year building the app, or probably, I reckon it was, 8 to 12 months. Yeah. Which is quite quick. In building from zero to go. Yeah. We had a wonderful launch party. We partnered with Pony Club Australia on the launch, and it went to number 2 on the App Store on the first day, which was kind of weird because I didn't really know, like I knew obviously the App Store, but I don't have a background in tech. I didn't really understand what a significant sort of milestone that was back then.
And there wasn't very many apps as well on the App Store. So I feel like, especially having, like, you probably had more of a following before the launch. So everybody was downloading it. The App Store was like, oh my God,
who is this? Yeah. I think in one of my old iPads that I had, I have a screenshot of it being at number 2, and it was surrounded by these other apps that were big names or celebrities and this thing. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Built that, and it developed over a period, I think, 3 to 4 years. We had riders all across the world, which was pretty scary. Yeah. If I knew now what I know now to take it back then, I think things would look very differently.
It's always the case, right? Beauty of hindsight.
Hindsight is a wonderful thing, as we all know. It was a really fun time, and it really opened so many doors for me across my now career of what I'm doing now.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible journey, and I think, like, kudos to you as well, because it's like, apps are hard. We know this.
Grey hairs.
Blood, sweat and literal tears, I always say.
Yeah.
But I guess, what was the process? Because you obviously sold the Writers Pod. So talk me through, like, the process of obviously having the successful business and then potentially wanting to sell it. Like, what do you think was the turning point where you maybe didn't want to continue with it and you would rather sell? Was it because you wanted to do something else, or just because you kind of felt like it was time?
Yeah, so I guess when I was building it, I had a full-time job, which, you know, a lot of entrepreneurs and things have to do while they're building something. So you're really stretching yourself in every way. You're wearing marketing hat, finance hat, you're working PR, you're doing website, you're doing it all. Yeah. But obviously I did have a business partner, and she was in a different part of life. She was a bit older than me, with kids coming along, all those types of things. And it got a lot as a business, working full time, running a whole app, and trying to juggle all of those things.
And still ride your horse.
And ride your horse and be friends and you know, do all the life things. Yeah. So I did that. It was I think it was around 4 years. I think 2019, I think we launched, and 22 we sold. So I think it was just a mixture of really getting to the point of, maybe I don't have enough knowledge to take this to that next step where I can quit my job, or I can, you know, take this really to the next level, or, you know, my priorities are changing. Yeah. I have other ideas.
It happens too.
Yeah. Tech's a lot, as you would know. Like it, and probably the other thing too, as you would definitely know, is Google, Apple development fees. That was a big part of it. I was spending tens of thousands of dollars just because Google decided they don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. And you have to change it to go to this. Or Apple is putting a 30% fee, obviously, on your subscription fees if it doesn't go via your website. And development fees, huge.
Anytime they try and change something, it's like, oh, good, we've got to change the back end again.
Yeah. You're like, oh, I just want to change the color of this page to be XYZ, or I want to change this function just a little bit. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that'll be $5,000. That'll be $10,000. You're like, oh, okay. Like, literally. We really need to do it because of whatever. But
and you want to improve things, obviously. Exactly. So you get stuck in this battle of, like, spending money, but then making money, and then you're kind of just in this cycle.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think it was a combo of that. Yeah. But we did sell, which was an interesting process. We sold to Equilab, which probably is one of the biggest apps in the world for equestrians, with over 1 million users, I think they had at the time. And that was in 2022. So now it's probably bigger. I don't really know what they're doing now. So that was an interesting process selling. You know, you've put your heart and soul into something. You want it to go to the right place. And the equestrian market, although is big, it's still niche.
Yeah.
And we were quite selective with wanting it to go to the right place. I guess when you are selling something, you can't really be fully in control of that. We did sell it to Equilab and they didn't do a whole lot with it. Which was
I was
sad.
about to ask, was when you were going through that process, was the assumption that they were going to keep it and run it as an app, or were they just buying kind of your customer base?
No, so they had told us that they were going to continue to run the app, and slowly transition potentially the features across to Equilab to combine it. But that didn't end up happening on their end. I believe they went through some changes in management and ownership potentially along that period of time.
So kind of just lost.
I think it just got a little bit lost in translation, which is a shame. But
it is sad, because it's like, I feel like the Riders Pod had such a big support network, so many people, and that was I feel like when you had the Riders Pod was the very beginning of when I was developing Equicare. And I feel like you, I even kind of looked up to the community that you'd built, because everybody just was it was such a warm, from the outside at least, such a warm community of people just supporting each other.
Absolutely.
And then for them to kind of, I feel like a lot of people were like, oh my God, they sold, what?
Yeah.
And then when the app just kind of
and then there was nothing.
Stopped, everyone was just oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
Which sounds like it was the same for you. You were a bit oh, okay. Yeah. Which is kind of a bit sad sometimes when you spend so much time and effort and, put so much of your heart and soul into this, and then it kind of, it's the beauty of business, right? People tell you things and once you sell it, there's absolutely no control that you have on that.
I did at one point try to buy certain assets back.
Really? Oh my God.
But they wanted too much money for it and I just couldn't justify it.
Was that just because you felt like you were in a better place to then to kind of take that on board?
Yeah, I think it was a bit of oh no, what have I done?
Yeah.
Yes, obviously once you sell a business and you've handed it over and your sort of hands are tied, your strings are tied off your hands, you're free again.
Yeah.
You feel this sort of sense of relief, but I think I felt guilty and to, like you said, you build this with your heart and soul, you build the community from nothing. This just an idea turns into this business and this app and this thing, even though it's an app, you feel as though it, we had so many people that would write in and be like, oh, you've changed my life, or, now I have a good relationship with food, or I've been exercising and I feel so much better about myself, or I'm healthier. And these types of things are really incredible to have come through, and it really, that was what drove it. So
makes it worth it.
Yeah, you really do have a bit of grieving period when you
it's
sell
part of you, right?
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Do you think that you'd ever go and develop another app again? You're
oh, I think I'd have a very different approach if I was to do it again. I'd have a great investor so that money wasn't a stress.
Their money, not your money.
Yep. I'd definitely, I think if I had the right idea that wasn't in market, I'd probably look at it, because, I really loved the tech side of it. It was cool. It was fun. It was incredible to see things like that come to life and people use it in their day-to-day, as you would definitely know that. You could twist my arm, I reckon, but maybe not at the moment.
I know. Well, you've certainly got your hands full with the Equine Business Summit, and which is coming up so soon.
I know. Oh my gosh.
It's
Don't
crazy.
talk about it.
Counting down the days.
There's 34 days or something to go.
I know. But that is crazy how it kind of, with your backstory, kind of almost goes full circle. Obviously you went into tech, but now with the summit, you're almost doing the events and stuff like you were doing in your Pony Club
days. Yeah.
Which is crazy, because you obviously, you worked at Ridley. You worked at Ridley after as well for a little bit. And then what was kind of the point where you wanted to start the Equine Business Summit? Where did the first idea, was it kind of because of that gap, I guess, in the industry, kind of like you talked about before as well, with things a little bit seen differently for athletes? I feel like for the business side of it, it's a little bit the same, whereas people don't really talk together and it's kind of almost there's a stigma around it in terms of the business side of the equestrian industry. We're 10 years behind any other industry, it feels like sometimes.
Yep.
So where did that all come to life?
So in the process of selling the Riders Pod, I obviously within that process, you're, you know, looking for buyers and things like that. And one of the buyers in that process that we were talking to was Ridley. They're a Swedish-based app, a wonderful founding team, and Ridley app basically works with Olympians and higher-level elite athletes, and also professionals like, you know, massage therapists or those type of things, where they basically, it's like a visual app, I would say, where you go in and you can watch Carl Hester teach you how to ride a centre line. That type of thing. They did have some management aspects to it, but the content was the main thing. So I worked with them for about, I think it was 2 or 3 years. And in that process, I wasn't working in Australia really majority of the time. I was working with the people in the US, people in Sweden, people in Poland, across the world, which was really incredible. And it just sort of opened my eyes a bit more to how big this industry actually is. There is a lot of opportunity out there, and it's up to you what you do with it. So through that process, I then, you know, Ridley was incredible to work with. Obviously, it was in Australia and Sweden, so those barriers definitely
your body clock would have been like...
I was on Zoom at 1 a.m. My parents were like, are you going to go to bed yet? I'm on a meeting, Mum. Can't talk right now.
It's like almost like night shift.
Literally, which does take its toll over a couple of years. You know, you're starting work at, say, 4 o'clock and you're not getting off a call until midnight or later. It wasn't affecting just me. It was sort of affecting my partner and their sleep schedule. And, you know, I'd then be sleeping till 10 o'clock the next day, which really throws everything out. It did work, like in terms of being able to ride my horses during the day and then jump into work, which... you know, it probably shows now because I'm always more awake at night and have all this energy ready to go at night compared to during the day.
But then it affects your social life as well. Like, you're like, sorry, can't go out for dinner, got meetings. Like, everything's like, go out for lunch, breakfast.
Everyone's like, I've got a job. I can't. But yeah, they were good like that though. Like, so through that process, so after I worked with Ridley, I actually started a part of Ridley. It was more like I was an employee because of international laws and things. It was easier just to have my own business. So more of like an equestrian marketing consultancy. And with that, I worked with Ridley and worked with quite a few other equestrian brands on the marketing side of things. Bringing their brands to life and working on things like influencers, events, campaigns for, you know, the next 3 years, I guess, was that period of time. And through that process, one of the clients I was working with at the time, you know, we were sitting down sort of planning the next year's worth of strategy. And I go, there's nothing in the equestrian industry, having both the client and I having started businesses in this space, there was no external resource or community or opportunities to go to an event. You know, Equitana was probably the only thing, and that was more of a B2C event. It wasn't B2B to majority of it because they were having stalls or, you know, there was the education.
It's very sales. Like, everyone goes to Equitana because you want to get big sales, discounts.
Exactly. So it kind of was like, well, there's nothing out there. Let's do it. And I'm a very, as you can sort of tell from my story, I'm just like, let's do it. Let's do it.
Give it a crack. Why not?
There's not a single bone in my body that would be like, let's have a think about this.
You're like, all in, let's go.
It's like, oh, okay, let's do it. Like, I'll literally start a business overnight if it comes to my mind and I think it's a good enough idea.
It's so fun though, because it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen?
Exactly.
But what's the best thing that's going to happen? You know, who knows?
So from there, I don't know about you, but when an idea like that comes to my mind, it's like, I can't think of anything else. I must write an entire business plan right now. I must map out exactly what I need to do next. I must come up with a list.
The plan.
Absolutely. And from that moment onwards, I just couldn't stop thinking about it. How fun would it be to have the industry in one room where we can learn, network and grow? My mind just went boom, like, you know, how far can I take this, basically? This is a big industry. We have a lot of big players. There's a lot of small players. There's a lot of medium players. There's a lot of people with just an idea. How do you encompass all of those people into one room? Which is the biggest challenge because the big guys don't necessarily want to hang out with the small guys. There's always going to be that no matter what industry you're in. And how do you change an entire industry's concept of collaboration? Unheard of in the equestrian industry to some degree. I'm not afraid to say that.
I agree with you completely though.
Even to this day, it's been 3 years. This is my third event running it. And I still have that challenge of why would I want to come and share my secrets? But it's totally not about that at all, in the slightest. So over the 3 years, now going to the third event, there's been a huge shift. From that first event in 2024 to get to that again, I had many people saying, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
You know,
no one's going to want to share. Like,
the big players are not going to want to come.
yeah. It's like the key to their, you know, Pandora's box, right?
Exactly. But I don't know. I just have this thing in me where if someone says no, I'm like, well, I'm going to do it even harder.
You're like, well, now I want to do it
Now it's
even
a challenge.
more.
Now it's a big old challenge for me to prove you why this is a good idea and why it's needed.
Yeah.
I think because, you know, like you said earlier, the industry is 10 years behind.
Yeah.
And it really, really is. But is that because there's a lack of education?
Yeah.
Is that because there's a lack of collaboration or knowledge or people stepping outside of the industry to then bring things back in and go, let's level up? That's where this whole concept come from. And, you know, I remember when I was in my element, I had this burning fire in me to get this event going and make it as big and grand as I could possibly make it, so that when that first event happened, people came and went, wow, is this a big company running this? Or, wow, all these top...
Just Hannah,
just me, my business partner. We're just chilling, you know, but it was pretty cool to bring it to life. And that first year, I think we had 100 and something people from the big brands, from the brands that people had told us were not going to come.
It was awesome.
It was really great. You were there at the first one. You've been to everyone since. And public speaking has never been my thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember when I went, okay, so we were planning the event. And I don't like to do things half-assed. I like to do them really well the first time and not just go to a function room at the local RSL. I wanted to go bigger. I wanted to align the business with the top. Yeah. So that we sit at the top, and then that attracts the right people.
And it builds a level of trust too.
Yeah, and that we're not mucking around.
Yeah.
We're here for business, and we mean business. Even though we're young, even though that we haven't got as much experience as the top players, we mean business.
Yeah.
Anyway, I remember I said to my mum, I said, where should we do it? Like, I was looking at venues and they wanted all this money and they just weren't great. They were pretty simple. The food was like party pies and sausage rolls. Like, it was not giving premium.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mum and I went to Living Legends.
Really?
In Oakland's area. And there was this outdoor function venue type thing that I could afford to do, because obviously we were it was just me and her. There was no money. It was, how are we going to make this work? We had to get sponsors on board,
bootstrapped,
literally. So we're at the venue. I'm looking at this outdoor stable looking shed thing. Yeah, I'm like, this is just, my world was falling apart.
You're like, this is not what I had in mind.
This big old grand plan of being up here. Yeah, it's just not going to happen. And it was almost a reality check of like, nice try, but this is why no one's already done it. Yeah. Anyway, I remember after that they have a little cafe there and we're sitting and having some scones and we were chatting and Mum goes, why don't you just ask Flemington Racecourse? I looked at her and said, are you crazy?
Of your rocker?
What is wrong with you? How many wines have you had today? And then I sat with it for a couple of minutes and went, you know what? Yeah. You are right. Yeah. Why not align yourself with an iconic and historic equine facility that's central to Melbourne, that has incredible views, huge function rooms, and is backed by the largest equestrian organisation, I would say. Yeah. I don't know if that's actually true, but one of the biggest in Australia.
Yeah, for sure.
And at that moment, why not? I said, let's do it. Let's do it. So I, good old LinkedIn.
Yeah, love LinkedIn.
Ravaged through that LinkedIn and found the right person. I had spoken to a couple of people who just weren't the right person to be in the right room. And I remember it was a Saturday night. I was down at my partner's family farm and I got a message at 11 o'clock at night on LinkedIn. We were playing cards. I went, the right person has read and answered my message about pitching my idea to them.
Wow.
You're just like, at that moment, oh my God. I went, oh my God, they want to meet. They want to meet. They can see the vision. They can, what do I do now?
You're like, I wasn't ready for this.
No,
Now what?
I was like, oh, see, because sometimes my ideas are so big and I execute them, but then I go,
You're like, I wasn't prepared for the next step. I was just so focused on getting to the first one.
Anyway, I ended up driving to Flemington one day and pitching. I had printed out all these reports and documents and things and really took it seriously. I thought, if you're going to make this work, you need to take this seriously. You need to do the background work. You need to show them why this is important and how it's going to work. Anyway, I did the pitch. They came back and said, we'll support you. Wow. And then we ended up in the biggest facility in Australia, one of the most iconic race courses with the most beautiful room, the most wonderful service from Crown. So the VRC from day dot have really supported this idea and the purpose behind it because, you know, the purpose is obviously to help the businesses, the horse businesses, whether it's a product or a service or anything in between. But it's also to build the industry, build the sport, which in turn benefits our horses, it benefits our riders, it benefits our small clubs.
It's a domino effect.
It's a domino effect. And the whole industry is built off of sport. It's not just...
and the love of horses.
Exactly. So between that and the VRC's whole mission is around the love of the horse, so very similar to other equine organisations. So it was a really good fit. And they've come back on board this year for the third time. So it's been a really well-developed partnership and very grateful for it. But it's helped the event come to life.
No, it's amazing. And I feel like even having it at the same place every year, it's like just becomes that annual thing that everybody knows, and it's such a beautiful venue and it's just so amazing to have it there every year. And it's amazing, I think, like especially what you were saying before about the whole idea of having everybody in the same room and collaborating and all of that kind of thing. I don't know why, and like I'd love to kind of almost have a flashback in time of like, did something happen in the industry for it to be like this now? Because you see like the fitness industry, you see every other industry, like Adidas and Nike have done collabs before and they're like direct competitors.
Skims as well,
100%. And like in every other industry, they are so much more open to collaborating. But for some reason in the equestrian industry, we are like so closed doors and like gatekeep everything. And so I think what you're doing is so incredibly important. And I think you've kind of seen as well throughout the last 3 years how it's slowly started to change just the way of people's thinking in Australia. Because I feel like even from my point of view, collaborating and doing B2B kind of things or partnerships or even just the B2B stuff that I've seen happen just in the industry as a whole has gone a long way compared to before. I feel like it used to be like, oh, you can't stand on their toes or you can't collaborate because what if they steal my idea?
I can't talk to you because you do this. Like, I there's still a lot of that around, obviously.
100%,
but I do think, and I don't know what the shift has been. Is like it's definitely not just the event. I think the world has developed so much in terms of digital marketing, digital businesses, e-commerce. And I actually personally think, it might be a little bit biased, but I think the equestrian space has seen so many younger people developing businesses. And I can be quite honest and say that some of the feedback I had from one of the events was, there were so many young people on the panel, or there were so many young people presenting. But I know I'm a bit younger as well. I'm not young, but I'm in the younger sort of demographic. Old. You're not old yet. It's only old as you feel. Is that there's a lot more open-mindedness to pulling things from outside of the industry, giving things a go, returning somewhat to old styles of marketing where, you know, for example, when you went to Bonio and you handed out donuts at an event, it was linked to your brand, but it was also just a good way of getting out there, meeting people. You know, these types of things that you're a lot more willing to do because you're either starting with no budget or you're very limited in your budget and you're thinking outside the square in your marketing and your business operations that the bigger, traditional, older, historic, say, businesses in the industry will go, I'm never going to do that. Why? Because they're set in their ways and that's okay, but you know, there is a time where you do get stale and you need to sort of step up and keep the business moving forward into the modern age. So I don't know, I just think it's a really, really interesting space. And if you sit back and watch it, like right now I'm not working in the equine industry specifically outside of the summit. And even in a completely different industry, it's very similar. Like I think it's just the way the world
kind
works.
of all changing.
It's there's
like
a lot more opportunity.
The younger generation's kind of coming in.
Yeah.
And I think the younger generation, very much like you said, the generation that's coming into business are the ones who are a bit more open and a bit more tech first. And then with that comes a lot of more open-mindedness. Instead of kind of the older generation. Not that there was anything wrong with them, but I feel like it was harder for them to change the way of thinking to be current. And it's so funny because I actually had a meeting with Garmin a couple of weeks ago with like one of the head of like the corporations, and we'd only ever talked on the phone before. And we sat down at a coffee shop in Melbourne, and the first thing he said to me was, don't take this the wrong way, but you are not the type of person that I thought would be like owning of a tech company.
Exactly.
He was like, it's amazing. He was like, you're so young and you have fresh ideas. And like, he's like, I mean this in the nicest way possible, but you are not who I thought I was expecting when you kind of come to this. And when you hear it from people like that, and it's very much the same as what you're saying, like it brings a whole new level of like freshness, I think. And it's the same as like the young people at the summit. It kind of, when you have a good balance, because obviously with like, people that have been in the industry a bit longer, they have so much knowledge and experience. And then when you combine that with that younger generation who, you know, is got so many fresh ideas, it's like a breeding ground for creativity and like...
yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, maybe it's now in today's day and age, I feel like there's a lot more access to business. There's a lot more access to resources in terms of how do you start a business? How do you get something from a manufacturer? How do you make an idea come to life? TikTok, you can learn anything, like YouTube, TikTok. People are really open to sharing their knowledge. And I know when I started the Writers Pod, I can't actually remember anything being available. To, you know, without going and doing a graduate or a bachelor of business. Which, you know, I can probably almost 100% say that I haven't really used anything that I learnt in my degree. It's all been learning as I go, really. You know, to some degree, obviously, it had its place. But, I do think there's a lot more accessibility to business. There's a lot more opportunity, and there's a lot more drive to go out and do it on your own. And people, like, I can just think of a few equestrian brands off the top of my mind. I'm like, wow, like, look at you go, like, you know, they didn't come from a business background. They just got in there, gave it a go, learning as they go. And I love seeing those people come together at the summit. It's my favourite time of year.
No, it's amazing. It's incredible. And I think, it's funny how a space like that is, especially when you're trying to grow an equestrian business, I feel like you really can't Google it. Like for any other industry, I feel like you kind of can. But for building an equestrian business, like you really can't Google it. Like you can Google aspects, but I feel like, it's such a different industry. So something like this, it just kind of, especially when like someone might not have an idea, but they don't know how to bring it to life. When you have everyone in the same room, even last year, like I had numerous people come up to me because I feel like apps are still very new for the industry. I had numerous people come up to me that just wanted to ask a question because they're like, I have this idea, but I don't know how to go about it. And I couldn't find any answers. And so that is literally a product of the event that's been created, which is so nice. I think it's like, makes it all worth it. In the end, no, sometimes I question it and go, oh, is this the right thing to be doing? But I think the energy in the room, the collaborations and things that come out of it, I think... it's definitely got its place in the industry, and we just need the industry to continue to absorb that and really get a part of it. No, it's amazing. Like, where do you think the future of the industry is kind of going? Do you think that it's going to kind of keep trucking? Like, what do you kind of think is going to be happening in the next 5 years?
Yeah, look, I think it's an interesting place right now. We've obviously got quite a bit of, I don't know what the right word would be, maybe... Yeah, I can't put the right word on it. I don't want to say the wrong word, but maybe a little bit of unbalance.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word to use, but across the more sport side of things.
Yeah.
And, you know, equestrian is one of those industries that's always being watched from a welfare perspective, which I think is obviously very important, and how the industry reacts to that and continues to demonstrate positive behaviours and, you know, reward positive behaviours, and then also stay on top of things when they're not going the way that, you know, they should. But I think the industry's in a really good place to take the opportunities that are coming and really expand their own knowledge, expand the way they do things, and not get stuck in the ways of the past. There's so much opportunity out there. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry.
300 billion to
300. There you go.
Correct.
That's a lot of money. You know,
It's literally comparable to golf.
Yeah,
the equestrian industry.
Incredible.
Like, it's bigger than F1 as a global billion-dollar value industry, just because horses are like animals.
Yeah. So that in itself, I think as long as everyone keeps pushing forward.
Yeah.
Push forward. Don't stay mediocre. Push. Like in F1. I think the opportunities are there.
Yeah.
If you are someone that has an idea, if you are someone that wants to do X, Y, or Z in the industry, there's no barriers unless you sort of make them for yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't start with a lot of money when I started the Riders Pod, and I built a whole app and sold it internationally. Yeah. Sounds crazy to say out loud, but if you want to do it, you can do it. You just have to have that grit and determination and the discipline. So I think if, the right people, there's so many smart younger generation riders and things coming through that I think have so many opportunities. And there's also older, more mature people creating businesses at 40, 50, 60. Yeah. We see it at the summit. There's so much happening. So I think the industry's in a really good place outside of some couple of little things with, you know, governing bodies and things like that. But
it's an interesting
outside of that, we won't get into that. Outside of that, I think it's in a very good place. And I think as long as the community of the equine business really continues to band together and, you know, in the right ways. I still understand that there's competition. You know, you don't want to be buddies with your next best thing. But there's room for everyone. Yeah. And everyone has their own, or should be focusing on their own USP, where they have that unique point of difference. And, you know,
focus on that.
Yeah, focus on that. There's room for everyone. And collaboration can sometimes lead to greater things.
100%. And kind of, on that point, like, do you think, I feel like the world of marketing as well has come so far, and especially with your big background in it, like, what do you think would be the biggest kind of, I don't know, trends or things in the industry that you've seen from a marketing standpoint of someone that potentially is coming into the industry, like, not really sure, like, should I be focusing on influencers? Should I be focusing on meta ads? Should I be focusing on this? Like, you obviously work in marketing in the industry and outside the industry. What kind of trends are you seeing, and what do you kind of think is the best way for potentially someone that's a bit stuck with their marketing right now in their business?
Yeah, good question. I think knowledge is power. Yeah. To the most part. So I'm probably in a 50-50 split here, where I think knowledge is really important, and how to do things and being able to do them yourself. You know, ads, whether that's creating a campaign or, you know, those types of things. I think knowledge, but then I also think getting out there and having a go, even if you don't have the knowledge.
I think, why not?
Give it a go.
What's going to happen, right?
Literally, you never know what could come of it. There's so many people that, like, the digital world, everyone's watching. Yeah. They may not be saying anything right now, or you may not even know that they're watching. Yeah. But the right person can be watching. I think in terms of trends and ways of going about marketing in the equine industry right now, I think don't get stuck in what other people are doing. Yeah. Always think outside the box. Always do something different. Do the opposite almost. I know that sounds a bit wild, but I would always think outside the box. Be the one that stands out for the right reasons. Get creative. Don't lose the creative spark. And I think personally, if you can nail meta ads, obviously your marketing it's a whole circle of things that are contributing to your conversion of sales and and the way your brand's perceived. So whether, you know, your website has to be really good for conversion, your ads have to be really good for conversion, and that's not just set and forget. That's a constant. It's
like a daily check-in.
It's always new ads because they fatigue really quickly.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, I think it's just really be different, think outside the box, don't get stagnant, do the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, if everyone's sending EDMs, send a letter, like in the mail, where someone can receive it. Like, I know that sounds a bit left of field, but
it's like that physical touch as well nowadays when like digital. Me with like an iPad right here instead of a notebook. It's the same kind of thing, be different.
Yeah, so I think across a lot of the brands that I've worked with and for, and even my own, always being different and stepping outside of the box of creativity, even if it seems a little bit wacky at the time, if you can execute it well, it will always stand up in front of an industry that may be doing all the same thing.
No, I love that. No, I think it's so true. And it's something that I really resonate with, because I feel like me with my marketing and just generally any advice that I've given to like clients that I've done a little bit of consulting for or anything, it's always been, don't look inside the industry. Because I feel like the industry, and it gets kind of stuck in a cycle of everyone does the same thing, and then it's really hard to be unique. Whereas if you talk to any other industry, they always get inspiration from other industries. So it's like, find something that like, don't like almost have one account that's like just for your equestrian stuff, but have like a little account that's just for like research and exploring, so it doesn't ruin maybe the yucky algorithm. But like, look at other industries, like see what they're doing, like take inspiration from them and bring it then into our industry that maybe has not seen it before, because then it becomes really unique.
Exactly.
And that's how everyone else grows.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's super easy to kind of get stuck in your own rat race, you know, like, which is 100% what you're saying.
You know, I guess you say that, like we do say that, and it's easy to get stuck in that because you are wearing so many hats if you're a small business. You don't have a team of 10 that have all new creative ideas that you can sort of take to. But I think, if you can have a good circle as well, like if you can have someone or a group of friends that are in the industry, they understand and you can bounce off each other. I think, that would probably be my top two, probably.
No, I love that. That's so good. I feel like, it's easy as well, I think, as a founder especially, to wear so many hats. And sometimes, I mean, like even advice I've gotten before is like, if you feel like you should, or you're at the space maybe to hire someone, then try getting someone freelance for a little bit. I think like when you work for other brands, and sometimes if your business starts really, really growing and you're still trying to do everything and you have the capacity maybe to take someone on board, yes, you might lose a little bit of revenue in the short term, but you're actually going to gain a lot more in the long term, because you've taken something off the plate and you can't do everything. And I think that's something that, especially as business owners, at least I know, and I think you're a little bit the same, like a bit of a perfectionist, and you want to do everything so, so well that sometimes you don't want to give it to someone else. And then if they don't do as good of a job, you're like, I could have done that better. But you need to learn something that I've had to learn a lot recently as I've started to really grow my business, is you need to learn to delegate.
Absolutely.
And when there's the time to actually start giving something that you really shouldn't be doing anymore, because your mind and your business could be doing something else which is so much more valuable to your time. Like, time is money, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think too on that is a lot, like, you know, it's really good to be able to be like, I'm going to get a social media manager, I'm going to get a reception admin person who is going to take all this load off my shoulders. But one of the biggest things I've seen across businesses is hire that person or freelance that person, but within that process, have a process of onboarding and training and investment. Like, if you're going to take that step, I think the biggest advice I would have is to set aside X period of time that person that you're bringing on, you can train and bring into your business, so that they're not relying on picking things out of your brain. Because as a founder, you've got the whole business's historical knowledge in your head. And sometimes it's easy to think that they just know what you're thinking or they get what you want. or they understand the business, but it's not their business. And it's hard as a founder sometimes to step out of that mindset of, well, everyone should love my business as much as I do. But sometimes for them, yes, it's a job and they may not be as invested as you. But if you take the time to stop, train properly, and really make sure that they're comfortable in that role, whether even if it is freelance too, I still think that's important, so that the output on the other end, you can really comfortably sit and go, I know this person's going to do what I need them to do, and it is going to take the load off my shoulders, because it's really easy to be like, hey, I want you to do 5 social posts, for example, and then they do it and they think, okay, yep, I've taken the instruction on board, I've done it, but you're like, oh, damn, it's not really what I wanted. Or, you know, it could be anything. Or this is the way I want to speak to customers when you're applying to an email. Or this is the processes that we follow with our shipping, our refunds, our exchanges.
It's like building your SOPs, right?
Systems. Like, I actually was listening to, I can't remember where I heard it, but it was maybe a podcast in the last couple of days that said, I don't care what business you're building, but from the start, build it like it's Walmart. Yeah. Build it like it is a big conglomerate business. Yeah. Even if it's something small that you don't expect to grow. Yeah. Because no matter what size your business is, if you don't have the right systems, you don't have the right processes, the right software and, you know, management tasks like your Notion or Google Meet or whatever it might be, everything else is going to be a bit scrappy.
It's going to make it really hard to grow. Exactly. Because then when you do get big, and if you don't have those systems in place, it's going to take you so much longer to grow. Yep. So I thought that was a really interesting one to take away from, because, you know, you can get really caught up in the doing of the business, that sometimes you do forget that. But if you set it up straight from the start, this is going to be the next, I don't know, Rolex. Yeah. Big dreams, but you just don't know. There's so many businesses that have turned into huge brands. You know, especially if you look in sort of the activewear space. Yeah, huge. Through that e-commerce side of things. Really quick growth too. Yeah. Like huge growth. Like LSKD started out as a motocross brand. Yeah. A lot of people don't know that. Yeah, what was it called? It was the letters mean something. But it literally, like, and my partner told me this, I didn't even know, because he's like, I used to buy motocross wear from them. Yeah. And I was like, whoa, really? Crazy. Like, it's insane. And now, like, every single person pretty much, I would almost guarantee, has at least one thing from LSKD. Yeah. Yep. Which is crazy. Yeah, it is crazy, but I think anyone can do it. You just have to really keep expanding your knowledge and what works in the business. What is working, what's not working, and then double down on what does. Yeah, and you always, like, no matter how long you've been in your business, I think you'll always have wins and you'll always have losses. Like, you will win, you will fail, but it's something I used to get told is, like, every single company can win, but the ones that fail and take what you've learnt from those failures and then turn them into wins are the ones that succeed. Because you can't just be like, oh, I failed, and oh no, like we stop. Yeah, like it's not gonna happen. My mum said that to me this morning. It's so funny you say that, because she was like, you know, obviously there's a big old war going on at the moment. Diesel is the highest it's ever been. Air flights are going up, like money. Yeah. And everyone's struggling at the minute. Like, she's like, oh, what are you going to do if no one comes to the summit this year? You're like, let's not put that mentality. I said, Mum, we're not going to do that, honey. Like, you're the one that told me to go for Flemington. Now we really need to just stay with that mindset. If no one buys any tickets, then you can just give up. Like, it'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I'm like, but that is the exact opposite mindset you need to have as a founder, is that when it's not going well or when it's tough times, you still have to show up. Yeah. You still have to push harder. Yeah. You literally have to double down, remember why you're doing it. Yeah. It's not always going to be perfect, but there are some people, you know, if you've got 20 customers coming through, those people put trust in you. Yeah. They have purchased from you. They have made that commitment. You've got to show up. Yeah. That's half the joys of small business too. Yeah. I think. 100%. It's so true though. I follow the founder of Gymshark, and he says it a lot. He's like, you win, great. You fail, even better. And I think that's a quote that I really love from him, because it's the mentality of you win, okay, yeah, cool. Everybody wins, but you fail. And he says he prefers it more when he fails, because he's like, I learned something from it. And then I can turn that into even more.
Yeah.
Versus if you just keep winning all the time, you kind of don't really learn from that. And I really love that way, the mental side of it, same as like a founder. Like you will, or pretty much in your business, you will fail more than you will win.
Yeah.
And it's the companies that, you know, everybody thinks become overnight successes.
Yeah.
And it's the companies that have like been running for 10 years prior that are all of a sudden overnight successes.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, they're
One
not.
TikTok made me. No,
Exactly.
It doesn't. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't work like that. We've spoken about how businesses online, you know, there's a lot more knowledge being shared. But I think a caveat to that is sometimes they can make it look really easy and look at my Shopify that's ding, 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 ding.
Or the workshops that are like,
We've
I'm going to
sold
make you
out.
all this money.
Exactly.
Sign up here.
Yeah, take my $12,000 course and you'll be a millionaire.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things to get caught up in. And I think when you're online looking for those types of content where you can, you know, take something away from it, just be careful and be sort
Have
of
a bit of a
aware.
filter. Yeah.
Because sometimes they can make it look real easy and you're like, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
I can start a global brand overnight. Like, it's fine.
It's not
Or they'll
easy.
say, I started this brand with $200. And you're like, "Did
that's
you?"
like a classic hook.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you? Like, I don't think you did, because you know, even to get a logo designed, it's going to cost you more than $200 unless you make your own, which like,
Literally.
that'll be fine. But, you know, it's definitely going to cost you more than $200. Don't get that in your head. Your ASIC registration is going to be more.
Yeah, ASIC's like $350.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think you just have to take everything with a grain of salt. And yeah, there is a lot of knowledge out there, and with the right people that you can learn from, there's so much out there.
Yeah.
And they're really giving with their time. So, but just be careful out there.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
I think that's like one last question to wrap up. I think that I've been trying to ask this to everyone, and what is the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Oh, that I've received.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's really hard. I think for me, it would be that don't listen when, like, to some degree, don't listen when people tell you no.
Yeah.
If you are passionate and you believe in something and you give it a go, that's probably the most important thing. I think, you know, within reason, obviously, if you go, oh, I'm going to go and spend $300 million on this and get a loan and do this and my world's going to be great and I'm going to be a millionaire, like there's restrictions within this, but I think just give it a go. Like, would probably be my piece of advice that has sort of led me to where I am. Or, you know, I think probably even putting yourself out there, like put yourself out there and give it a go would be it. Because if I hadn't have given it a go or put myself out there into certain situations, I wouldn't have sold to an international brand. I wouldn't have the clients that I have today. I wouldn't have built an app. I wouldn't have started a national conference that brands come from all over across Australia. I wouldn't have done probably anything in my life. I wouldn't have bought certain horses. I wouldn't have built a house. I wouldn't have, you know, it really applies to your whole life.
Yeah, it does.
A lot of people have opinions. A lot of people have their own views on the way things should happen. And I think as long as you stay true to yourself and you really think about things, but don't think too deeply. Like, just think about them reasonably of where you're at in your situation and make it work.
Yeah.
Give it a go. Put yourself out there into rooms, places, roles. I think that would be my 2 things, because if I hadn't done both of those things in many different situations across my career, no way would I be able to sit here and go, this is what I've done.
Yeah.
Never. Putting yourself out there, saying yes even when people say no, and then surrounding yourself with the right people and the right environments and the right rooms.
Yeah, that's so true.
And that comes a part of putting yourself out there, because you're putting yourself into those right rooms, even if it's not easy.
100%. I think something that I've seen a lot of really successful people say is like, don't take advice from the people that aren't in the rooms that you want to be in. Only take advice from the people that are in the rooms that you dream to be in. Yeah. Because the people that aren't in those rooms, they have no idea what they're talking about. Yeah. Like,
it sounds so cliche.
It does.
You're like, oh yeah, of course you want to be in the room with.
But it's the same as what you're saying. Proximity spreads.
Yeah.
Like if you are maybe you're not the same kind of. You maybe don't have the same kind of quality of business or big business that those people have. But if you put yourself in that room, you just, their mindset spreads onto you.
You think differently.
You think the way that they think.
And they don't think that something's not possible.
No.
They're realistic, but if something can be possible, it's not going to be like, probably shouldn't do that. It's going to be like, do it. Give it a go. Take the risk. No risk, no reward. Whereas in another room, if you're sitting in a room where people, you know, it's the opposite. Yeah. You're going to be like, oh, okay, maybe I should think about this for another year. Yeah. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I shouldn't do it. You know, it really, I think it's mind changing. Like it really changes your perspective. It changes the way you behave. It changes the way you think. And that is so powerful.
100%. I think in Australia as well, sometimes we're really bad for like the tall poppy syndrome.
Absolutely, yeah.
Here. It's like one person's kind of sticking out from the top. Let's like cut them down so they're the same as the rest of us. And there's a lot of like mentality, like I know, especially from my brother who has traveled and worked a lot overseas. And he even said to me sometimes like, overseas, there's a lot more money. Yeah. So especially in business, if you're like in a situation where you're in your business and you're like, oh, I can't do this thing because I can't afford it. In like America or overseas, they would never ever think like that. They're like, okay, I can't afford it. Let's figure out how I can. Yeah. It's not just like, oh, I can't afford it, closed doors. Yeah. That's kind of how I feel like sometimes we think in Australia, whereas in the US, it's like if someone can't afford it, it's like, okay, who can I bring on board so that I can afford it? And same kind of as the way that you've gone about the summit, like obviously you were not going to be able to afford that by yourself. And same as like when you grow a business and like me even starting to talk to investors, it's like, okay, I really want it to get to here. How can I do that? Because I'm not going to be able to do it by myself. And that's where I feel like Australia sometimes, because we're so far from everyone else.
Little island.
We stay. We have that little island mentality of just like kind of
within your means.
Yeah, within your means. And the world is so big.
Yeah. And there's no real barriers these days. No. Like you don't have to go to the US to work with them. No. You don't have to. Yeah, obviously it's ideal if you can go over there or you can, you know, but between all the tools that you have in today's day and age,
get on
one message,
LinkedIn,
one LinkedIn message, one Zoom call, one coffee catch up, whatever it might be, it really can open the doors. You don't know what other people have that they're not sharing online, or you know that they might be thinking about, or that they have a connection in here or here, and those doors opening can really change the trajectory of what you're doing, or who's a part of it, or where it ends up.
That's amazing. So, no, I love that. No, I think that's an amazing place to finish. So thank you.
No, that was really fun. Thanks for having me.
That was really fun. Yay.